In this session, the gentleman joining us will be breaking down each part of the Facebook ads algorithm, that is scheduling, bidding strategies, CTR tactics, quality score, virality, engagement, and more. And you'll be learning about how to take advantage of every item that Facebook evaluates in serving ads across the ad platform and how to use it to your advantage legally. And at the end of the talk, you'll walk away with over 20 hacks and explanations to implement them straight into your business. So here we go. Please welcome the co-founder of AdLeaks, Tim Burd. Hello, Tim.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Well, it's certainly going well with me, and I'm sure everyone's going to answer you just in a second, saying very well indeed as well. It's wonderful to have you here, Tim. So we've got your presentation lined up already there. So what I'm going to do is focus the screen right on that and just pass the microphone over to you. So please just take it away whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Well, first I want to thank you, David, for having me, and thank Larry Kim as well. I was fortunate enough to meet Larry Kim at one of the events that we were throwing in, I think it was Vegas or San Diego, I forget which one, but I loved his presentation. He had lots of cool unicorns and everything for Mobile Monkey. It was cool. So I want to thank everybody for having me here. I'm doing a presentation today on the 20 shortcuts to dominate the Facebook ads algorithm. This is usually content that I only share at my masterminds. I've never actually shared this publicly with anybody. So you guys will be the first ones to see this publicly, which is pretty cool. We'll just go ahead and jump right in. I'm not familiar with Crowdcast, so hopefully this works here. I have a little promo video we're going to play real quick. I have to leave it on here, okay. Cool. There we go. So that's my little promo video I got done. Hopefully you guys liked it. I said there's quite a few people in here, about 9,000 or so. Some of you may or may not know me, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick little information about me. Some of you guys might know me from the bully method. It's one of my Facebook ad methods. You might have heard of the shotgun method also. Or the surfing strategy. Those are all strategies and tactics that I've come up with that have been wildly successful for a lot of people. If you're not familiar with them, just do a little Googling. I'm sure you'll find it. Here we go. Let's jump right in. So in 2004, I was 18 years old and I became a mortgage broker. I didn't go to college. I went to college for a semester and I just could not take my business professor seriously. So I dropped out of college after a semester and then started my first internet company. So before that, though, I was a mortgage broker. I was in the corporate world doing the whole 9 to 5. Not a whole lot of fun. So then I started my first company was an affiliate program called cashuniversity.com. This was quite a while when I was 19. This was just an affiliate program where you could promote dating sites, credit reports, that sort of thing. I also had a medical marijuana store at the time, actually. Then when I turned 25, so everything was going really, really well. I was on reality TV shows, and I'm giving you guys like a really short, concise version of my story here to save time. But basically, when I was 25, both my businesses collapsed for reasons outside my control. Visa changed cross-sell regulations in Europe, which killed my internet company. And then Los Angeles changed zoning regulations, which killed my weed store. So that's literally when everything went to hell. And I learned a really big life lesson, which is failure is only the opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely. So this time I decided to build a company and a brand that would not be subject to wildly changing government regulations. So I started an affiliate network and went super mainstream. Again, it was like credit reports, dating offers, mobile pin submits, like all the normal kind of affiliate stuff. But I hated it, and anyone running an affiliate network will know what I mean. It's a grind, and it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. So then I transitioned over to actually owning my own offers, So I started my own lead gen offers in the dating vertical and in legal, where we're doing class action lawsuit leads and Social Security leads. And I was running all the ads myself. We were selling all the leads directly to attorneys. This is actually when I started my Facebook ad buyer group about 6 years ago now, which is we're about 100,000 people now in this group alone. And I started this group actually just to be able to talk to other people about Facebook ads. That was the whole point of this group, was because there was no other place at the time, which was very surprising to me. So, and then I just helped people answer their questions all the time, which helped me learn very quickly as well. And then, after a little bit, people were saying, hey, can you help me? Can you help me with my ads? Can you teach me? And they were like, hey, I'll pay you for some consulting. I was like, well, you're going to pay me to help you? That's great. Okay, let's do it. So I started doing a little one-on-one consulting. And then, after getting the same questions over and over and over again, I decided that I'd rather just do a mastermind workshop where I could get 2 full days, and then I could help people. I could help people all at once and give them much more content for essentially much cheaper. I usually charge $2,000 or $3,000 an hour for consulting, whereas my masterminds are like $5,000 or $6,000 for 2 full days. So that was a much better value for everybody and better for me. So that's been going really well. Then in 2017, in January, I started Agency Y with my business partner, Sean Brown. And Agency Y is an ad agency. We specialize in high budget campaigns. So we run any clients that spend at least $100,000 a month is our minimum. And then we do Facebook, Google, Instagram, native, and a couple others as well. And then near the end of 2017, the Facebook ad buyers group, which I went over a minute ago, was getting so big that there were so many amazing posts that were being just forgotten or left behind because there were so many posts every day. So I decided just to make them into news articles. All right. Now, and my journey now has brought me to AdLeaks, which is a community. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with it, it's just basically like a private Facebook group, and we have over now 400 videos in there. As you can see here, everything from copywriting, creatives, conversion rate optimization, customer experience optimization, e-commerce, analytics, you name it. We have basically everything you could possibly want in there. And we have a cool little member map there also built right in, so you can see where all the members are in the world. And so then if you travel, you can go and go and meet up with somebody, because that's the whole point, is bringing people together. So there you go. That's kind of the short little version. And let me just pop back over to Chrome. I make sure everybody can see me. Looks like everybody cool. Looks like everything's going good. All right, so now we're going to go get to the meat and potatoes here. 20 shortcuts to dominate the Facebook ads algorithm. All right, so the reason I like going over the algorithm is it's obviously the cornerstone to everything that the Facebook ads are, right? Like everything is dictated by the algorithm. So if you don't understand the algorithm, you're going to run into problems all the time. And then when Facebook changes something small or something's not going properly, you're going to have no idea what's going on, right? So if you can understand the underlying technology behind Facebook ads, it gives you a massive advantage. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. So these are all the pieces of the algorithm, all right? And these are in no particular order, okay? So the first part of the algorithm is time, okay? And time, by time, I mean that in a few different ways. So one would be the time that you start your ad set, okay? So ad set pacing, meaning, if you want to pace evenly, that would mean you spend evenly through all the 24 hours, okay? So if you want to pace evenly and not have your budget blown out, just in a couple hours, what you want to do is start your ad set, okay? Turn it on at midnight, account time zone, okay? So whatever your ad account time zone is, that's when you should start your ad set for the first time or every night at midnight, okay? Now, you sometimes don't always want to pace evenly. Sometimes there's benefits to starting earlier, for example. So what a lot of times that I will do is, so the way to hack this part of the algorithm is to start your ads partway into the day the first time. I call it like the rev up. So instead of starting your ads at midnight and then having it spend like evenly, right? what you can do is you can start your ads at like noon or 2 p.m. or even 4 p.m., something like that, just the first time. And then what Facebook is trying to do is they're going to rush your spend in, okay? It is going to cost you more the first day, but what they do is they need to spend your money faster, right? So what do they do? In the news feed, okay? In the news feed, when you're in Facebook, there's the first couple ads, and they have the best click-through rate always. And then there's, ad number 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, etc., right? Depending on how far you scroll down. When you do the rev up here and you start your ads, later in the day, Facebook has to rush traffic in. They do that mainly by putting your ads higher up in the news feed. Okay, what this does is this gives you basically like an artificially higher CTR, which will then bring your click cost down and typically your conversion cost down the next day. So that's kind of a cool way I found to get like a nice 20 or 30% bump in CTR. So let's say it would be normally like 1%. You could probably get it up to like 1.3, maybe even 1.5, just by doing this trick, which is a nice little bump, and will bring down your click cost. Now, I've also had a lot of times where I started the first time partway into the day, and then I just let it run 24/7, right? And that's totally fine. Now, sometimes though, you'll find that that your CTRs will go down basically day 2, day 3, etc. Back to where like the normal CTR, so to speak, and not your artificially higher CTR that you started with on day 1. One way to combat this is to just start your ads part way into the day every day. So what I found is a good time to do that is if you start your ads at around like 4 or 5 a.m. Account time zone. Okay, so then you're not starting too late in the day, and your ads basically will still get like a little bump in CTR every day. So it's just a nice little hack there that I use, and it works really well. The next part of time for the algorithm is virality. Okay, so imagine both of these lines, the red line and the blue line, they're both ads. Okay, the blue line would be like your slow and steady wins the race, right? That's you're testing different creatives, you're slowly upping your budgets. And the time is on the bottom axis there. So over let's say a couple months, you end up with a lot of visitors, a lot of likes, comments, etc. Now imagine the red ad. Okay, you come in with a really high budget and you're slamming traffic in, right? So you get to the same number of visitors, likes, and comments, etc. as the other ad, but much quicker, right? To Facebook, this signals virality. To Facebook, this is saying, hey, this content's really good. Let's show it to more people for cheaper, basically is what it comes down to. So virality is really important. And the way to hack this is to not make your ads like a week or 2 or more in advance. Just to give you an extreme example, say that you make a new ad today, but then you don't actually put it into your ad sets or like actually start your traffic until like 6 months from now. Again, extreme example, but to Facebook, that's going to be old content. That's an old ad. That's old news, right? If you make your ad today and start it tomorrow, that looks much better to Facebook. So just don't make your ads too far in advance. All right. So the next part of the algorithm would be your bidding and your click-through rate. Okay. While they are separate, they do go hand in hand, which is why I'm kind of going over them at the same time here. So the best way that I found to hack this part is to use my bully method. And if you're not familiar with it, I'm going to tell you what it is right now and why it's beneficial. A lot of people have heard of the bully method, but they don't know why or how it works exactly. So the bully method is basically just to start your bid really high on manual bid and then just never change it. And you're going to, like, let's say your conversions normally cost like $30 or something. You'd bid 3 to 5 times higher than that. Okay. So that'd be like $90 or more would be your bid, right? And what you're doing is you're literally bullying your competitors out of your audience, okay? Everybody has that pretty much like 3-day rule where they'll let an ad set run for 3 days, and then if it's still not profitable after 3 days, they'll usually cut it. So if you let your ad set be not just unprofitable for a few days, you'll find that a lot of people that you're competing against will actually turn their traffic off, and thus your cost goes down because your competitors are leaving. And the cool thing is you can actually check to see how it's working directly as far as competition in Delivery Insights, which we're going to go over in just a little bit. Another benefit of the bully method is you get a higher ad placement in the news feed. Just like starting your ad later in the day gets you a higher ad placement because it has to rush your budget in. Bidding really high also gets you a better placement. Okay. And what does a higher ad placement in the newsfeed mean? It means you get a higher CTR as well, right? Higher click-through rate. And with a higher click-through rate, you get higher relevance scores, higher quality scores, and ultimately a lower cost per click, right? And what does that mean? It means you get a lower conversion cost, right? We get a lower cost per sale, which is what we all want. And one of the most important and often overlooked things is quality of the users or quality of your clicks even, right? So this is how Facebook breaks, and this is a simplified version of how Facebook breaks down their machine learning algorithm, okay? If you're bidding on purchasers, right, you're bidding on purchases, Facebook has these buckets, right? So the big bucket on the left of a lot of money, those are the people that Facebook is very, very certain is going to purchase. You know, it's extremely likely that these people are going to make a purchase. Facebook has all this data on the back end, what sites they're visiting, what they're adding to cart, you know, and so on, right? So these people on the left, those people are highly likely to purchase, right? And those people cost more, okay? You can't, you know, bid really low and expect to get these very high quality users, right? These users are going to have a higher CPM, right? Then you have the next little bucket down, still a good bag of money, but lower. And these are the people that are, you know, likely to purchase. Not extremely likely, like the big bag, but likely to purchase. Then you've got the next little bag down where like, they could purchase, you know, they could. There's some signals saying there's a purchase intent. And then you got the last little bag down there with the question mark, which is like, we have no freaking clue if they're going to purchase or not. We don't know if, you know, if they're, we have no clue. Like either we don't have a lot of data, or even worse, it could be that we don't think they're going to purchase. And if you bid really high, you get those good users. And if you bid low or auto bid, a lot of times you get these bottom of the barrel users, okay? And the problem with that, all right, is the quality and purity. So when you start out your ad account, or even, you know, every day, the visitors that you're paying for and bidding on that are hitting your page, right? Those are people you're making lookalikes on. These are the people adding something to your cart, purchasing, visiting your different products, you know, etc. So if you're bidding on these low quality users at the end of the spectrum, these small little money bags, you know, you're going to have very inconsistent days. Okay. You're going to have days where, you know, you have a ton of add to carts, no purchases, or just no add to carts. Then other days where you have a killer day because you got lucky, basically. So when you're buying these higher quality users, you're making your lookalikes out of higher quality users. So your visitor lookalikes will be better. Your add to cart lookalikes will be better. Typically your average order values will be higher. Your conversion rates will be higher. And you know, and your lifetime value is going to be higher. So there's all sorts of benefits to that. All right. So the next part of the algorithm would be history. Okay. And by history, what I mean is all the previous data on your ad account. All right. And Facebook is looking at this data on many levels. They're looking at an ad account level, a page level, a campaign level, an ad set level, audience, and creative. All right. And then the data that they're looking at, though, is stuff like how much your historic cost per acquisition is, your historic CTR, historic CPC. They're looking at the quality, which has a lot to do with like bounce rate and stuff like that. They're looking at what users converted before, where those users live, what kind of interest they like, and so on. So it's important to have a good history. You know, it's important to have a good history, which is why, you know, you see ad accounts perform wildly differently. It's because some of them have history and some you know, while others may not, or they have very different history. And then you put the same ad and same audience and same landing page, and you wonder why they perform differently. History has a big part of that. So the way to kind of game this part of the algorithm would be to start your ad account off the proper way from the beginning, and bully method them, have a high click-through rate, and you know, higher conversion rate, etc. right off the bat. That helps a lot. The next part would be creative type. All right, you know, the type of ad that you're doing, right? So the algorithm is choosing which creative type to show a user based on a lot of factors, right? A couple factors would be like ad types they've clicked before. So if I usually click video ads, guess what? They're going to serve me a lot of video ads, right? That's also looking at the device they're logged in from currently, though. Let's say that Facebook sees that, like, when I'm on my phone, I usually click image ads, but when I'm on my desktop or laptop, I usually click video ads. Then guess what? When I'm on my laptop, they're going to show me video ads. When I'm on my cell phone, they're going to show me image ads, right? They're also looking at stuff like, are you on Wi-Fi or not? What's your bandwidth speed? If Facebook sees that it's loading really slow, guess what? They're probably not going to serve me a high definition video, right? They're going to serve me an image. All right. They're also looking at product type. If they see that certain users, selling certain products it's doing better over video or over carousel, etc., they're going to go a little bit harder on that creative type to try to help you sell your product. All right. And they're also looking at which creative type users like those users have converted on, right? So this is a little graph here. This is my graph. This is not like official Facebook data. I just want to like preface this. But this is basically my best guess as to how the inventory kind of stacks up at Facebook, all right? So more than half of the inventory goes to video ads, all right? So if you're not doing video ads, you are losing a ton of your possible inventory. Let's say you have a 2 million size audience. If you're not running video ads, now your audience size is like less than 1 million of possible people to show your ad to, right? Because the other 1 million is for video, basically. Then I figure about maybe 22-25% of the inventory, something like that, goes to image and link ads, or your normal ads, let's call them. Then the rest, the 7 and the 4% would be carousel, dynamic product ads, lead ads, and so on. This is again just kind of like a rough graph, but the way to hack this is very simple. Have a lot of creative types. Don't only do video ads. Do not only do link ads. Don't only do carousel. You need to do a mix of all of them, and then Facebook will be able to show the proper type of ad to the proper user at the proper time. All right. Quality is a big one. Okay. Much like history, quality, they're looking at on the business manager level, ad account, page, campaign level, ad set, audience, and creative. They're looking at all your, basically at every level they can. And a lot of people have user feedback issues or quality issues, and they don't really know what's going on. The way that you kind of know that's happening is typically you'll find that your conversion rate will stay about the same, your click-through rate will stay about the same, but your cost keeps going up, okay? When this is happening, it's typically because you're getting penalized, all right? So there's a few things that Facebook's looking at, all right, for quality. They're looking at comment sentiment, which would be the sentiment of people's comments. So if people are using words like, hate, scam, fraud, that kind of thing, that's very, very negative, right? So Facebook's going to associate your posts negatively. Now, if a lot of people are commenting like love, amazing, great, stuff like that in the comments, then Facebook's going to think that you have good comment sentiment, and you have a positive ad, you have positive things happening. So basically, to hack this part, you simply try to elicit feelings of positivity from your ad, using certain emojis or words, love, stuff like that. And then in the comments also, you should be responding to comments and trying to elicit positive reactions from people. All right. And then obviously people hiding, marking as spam, or reporting your ad, as spam or whatever, obviously that's bad. Customer feedback surveys, this is a really, really big one, especially if you're in e-com, especially for e-com. Basically, a couple weeks or a few weeks or so after a user purchases from your site, Facebook is popping up these feedback surveys saying, hey, user, did you get your product? Are you happy with it? How's the quality of it? Like, how is your customer service? How is your shipping time? Okay. And if people rate you bad, Facebook is going to lower your score, and you can actually lose your ad account this way. So this is kind of what the score looks like. The target you want to be around is ideally like 2+. Most of our clients are in the 4 to 5 range. If you get below a 1, that's typically when they ban your ad account. All right. So it's very, very important that you keep your customers happy. All right. If they're not happy, fix it. If you don't have fast shipping time, go get fulfillment centers or something and fix it. If the quality of the product's not great, get a different manufacturer. You need to have a good user experience. Otherwise, you will not last long on Facebook. If you want to know where to see your feedback score, you just go to facebook.com/ads/customer_feedback, right? And then you'll be able to see that score there. All right. Other stuff that Facebook's looking at is your bounce rate, all right, which is how many people bounce right away when going to your page. Then page load time is a huge factor that Facebook keeps making more and more important, all right? So if your page load time is much over, like, let's say 2 or 3 seconds, you're going to start running into issues. Not only will you convert lower, but Facebook's going to charge you more for the traffic on top of it. So it's like a double whammy. So page load time, that's simple. Just you're going to want to get a CDN, minify JavaScript and CSS, implement lazy loading, dedicated DNS, and so on. Time on site. This is simple. You just want to keep people on your site for as long as you can. Through typically good content. It could be a video, whatever. But time on site is very important also. All right. Now, relevance score is no more. Okay. Relevance score was pretty much a useless metric anyway. The new quality scores are much more valuable and much more useful. So the 3 scores, you have quality ranking. And what's that doing is it's measuring the quality of your ad in comparison to the others competing for the same audience. Okay. And again, for the quality, we're looking at just the stuff here, people marking it as spam, the surveys, page views per user, bounce rate, comment sentiment, and so on. So that's kind of what factors into your quality. Engagement rate ranking is measuring the expected level of engagement your ad will drive in comparison to others competing for the same audience. So basically, how engaging is your ad compared to your competitors? All right. One way to game this is to, and I think I have a slide for this in a bit, but one way to game this is just to run PPE or a post engagement on your post IDs that you're using for your ads. Then this gives you a higher engagement rate. Nice and simple. Conversion rate ranking is measuring the expected conversion rate that you're going to get in comparison to others. How you convert on the page is very important. That's why stuff like multivariate testing and decreasing page load time are extremely useful here to help your conversion rate. All right. This is how do you measure negative feedback? This is how I personally measure negative feedback. Again, this is not like an official Facebook thing. So how I do it is if you go into your post insights, okay, if you go to your in Business Manager, then you go to your page and then to post insights, and you can see all your different posts. And when you click one of them, you get a screen that looks just like this, okay? Now, if you look at the bottom where these red arrows are down here, the red box, negative feedback, you see 5 people hid this post, 5 hid all my posts, and 3 reported as spam, right? So I just add those together. 5 plus 5 plus 3 is 13. And then I divide that by the total number of people reached, which at the top you can see is 217,000 people. And that gives me 0.006%. I looked at a lot of my ads across various clients, and this was a fairly normal, complaint ratio, so to speak. Obviously lower than this is great, but if you're around this number, it's okay. All right. Here's an example of one that is very, very bad. So we were running this ad in a couple years ago, 2016, for a Social Security disability client, a law firm, right? We ran this thinking this was just for a page like too, but we ran this, thinking it would garnish a lot of engagement. It definitely did, but not in a good way. So you see the negative feedback down there is 133 people hid the post. 89 hit all of our posts and 5 reported as spam. So that's a total of 227 negative feedbacks. All right. And keep in mind, remember the last one I only had 13. This one has 227. And the last one reached over 200,000 people. This one only reached 130,000 people. So it's very bad in a lot of ways. So this is 0.17% when you divide that out, right? That's very, very bad, okay? If you start getting anywhere near the 0.1% range, you need to delete that ad immediately. When I realized this, my rep called me actually and said, hey, you're about to get your ad account banned. Your quality score is going down very quickly. We recommend that you delete these ads right away. So I took their word for it. I deleted it, and thankfully I didn't have any issues. So if you're running, basically 0.006% good, 0.1% very bad. Just don't do it. So if you have negative feedback, though, let's say you've been running for a while and you had maybe some shipping issues or quality control issues on your products or whatever. If you have some negative feedback, how do you fix it, right? So here's how to fix it. I have a 3-step plan here. So step 1 is you run PPE, or page post engagement, or just post engagement. Facebook calls it, or engagement. They've changed it all the time. And then what you do is I personally allocate 5 to 10% of my overall budget to PPE, and then I slowly taper it down, which I'm going to go over in a minute. All right. This typically raises your engagement rate, okay, which then lowers complaint ratios, and it ultimately gives you a lower CPM because Facebook finds it more engaging. So they give you the traffic a little bit cheaper. So you should notice your costs go down per conversion a little bit when you run PPE. If it doesn't go down enough, then the next step I do is I run page likes, just 10 to 20 bucks a day, nothing crazy. What this is doing, though, is it is giving you new people that like your page that have not yet complained. So that's great, right? So that lowers your complaint ratio even more. Now, this is really what I'd say is like this is the golden goose here. Step 3 is reach campaigns. Okay, so if you run a campaign for reach, and it's hard to see here. I didn't change the color. It looks like, but you need to use the same post IDs. This is with reach and PPE here. If you don't know how to share post IDs, I do have an article on adleaks.com. Anybody can read it. How to share post IDs. It's sharing post IDs across with your ad and different campaigns, basically. So you run your same post IDs from your conversions campaign of your best ads. You just take those post IDs, throw it in a reach campaign, and what the reach campaign to do, right, is it's just people that are going to see your ad. It's people that are not likely to engage, because that's PPE, right? It's people that are not likely to click, because that's traffic or conversions. This is people that are just likely to see your campaign, right? And what that's going to do is it's going to increase at the top here the number of people reached without increasing the negative feedback, right? So it's going to lower your complaint ratio very quickly, all right? And on a reach campaign, you can get like $3 to $5 CPMs in the US, and around the world is even cheaper. So you can show your ad to a lot of people for very cheap. So that's a great way to fix negative feedback, right? The next thing is engagement. Engagement is one of the most important parts of the algorithm, all right? So I do this thing called the PPE warm-up. That's not a very great name, so I'm working on it. If any guys got something better, throw it in the chat, and I'll use it. So what I do, and we always do this, my agency, for all clients, is we run page post engagement at 5 to 10% of the overall budget just for the first few days of the campaign, all right? And then we slowly taper down the amount of money we're spending on PPE until the conversion cost starts to go up. Then we put it back to what it was the day before and leave it. So let's say you have a $1,000 budget overall for all of your whole campaign. I'm going to spend, $50 to $100 or 5 to 10% on page post engagement, right? So let's say I'm spending $100 a day on PPE for the first few days. This ramps up the engagement quickly, makes it look more viral, more engaging, etc. Right? We're hitting all the different parts of the algorithm, right? And then I'll slowly lower the PPE budget down. I'll lower it from like 100 to 90, the next day. And then if my conversion cost is good, I lower it again, lower it to 80 and then 70 and so on, until your conversion cost starts to go up. And then I just put it back right where it was. I find that the ideal spot to leave PPE at ongoing is around 2 to 3% of your overall budget. Okay, that's generally what I find works best. If you have a lower engaging product though, or something, or a post, sometimes you might want to leave it around more like the 5% range. But you got to kind of just find that sweet spot, all right? And again, you have to use the same post IDs, otherwise it's not very effective. You must use those same post IDs in your conversions campaign as you're using in the page post engagement campaign, all right? Another little hack here for engagement is whenever I make an ad, what I do is I comment from the page on each ad initially, okay? And then reply a few times to that comment from like other pages or my personal profile, and then like all of those replies, all right? When your ad is being shown in the newsfeed, Facebook will typically show 1 or 2 of the top comments as well, right? Without someone having to click see more comments, right? So it's very important that you have at least one of those two comment spots. It could be something like share if you care, or whatever, just some sort of positive, good message that you want people to see. It gives you more space, more inventory, basically. All right. And you can actually see your engagement rate directly if you go into your page insights. You scroll down and this little box where it says engagement rate at the top. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not, but at the very top right here, there's a drop down next to engagement rate. It's not engagement rate by default. I think it's like posts, likes, and comments or something by default. So you just click that, change it to engagement rate. All right. And then it shows you all your recent engagement rates. So you can see, some of my ads were like only 2%, some were 4, 3, etc. This one will help you to know which of your ads are, more engaging. But it's also going to typically show you which ones are going to perform better. As far as cost per conversion goes also. So it'll help you also kind of realize like which ads are doing well, so that when you make more ads, you know kind of what to do, right? All right. So next is social proof thresholds. These are super important, right? This is a little bit, gets into psychology a little bit, but when you see a post in your news feed that only has like, let's say like 10 comments or likes, whatever, like who cares, right? If it only has 100 also, it's like whatever. Once it starts having 1,000 though, you start paying attention, right? And then if it has 10,000 likes or a ton of comments, etc., like a lot, then you might actually take a look at it, right? And it's the same thing with video views, okay? If a video has 10,000 views, it's like, who cares? 100,000, you might look at it. And I'll give you guys an example. Say you're scrolling through your feed, okay? And you see some like viral looking cat video, okay? In your feed. If that video only has like 10,000 views, there's probably no way you're looking at it unless you're like super bored. If that video has like 1.2 million views, guess what? You're probably going to watch it because you don't want to miss out on something cool, okay? So how does this relate to your ads? Well, very simple. If I'm running my ads and let's say I get to like, I'm on a certain video, let's say I'm up to like 900,000 views, and let's say I'm breaking even on my campaign, I know personally that if I get over the 1 million video view mark, that I can get my cost to go down 10%, 20%, 30%, somewhere in that range, depending on the niche. I can drop my conversion cost by that much just by getting over 1 million views. So I'm just going to run for a couple more days, get my 1 million views, and then I know my costs will go down, right? And the reason that's really powerful is that can sometimes be the difference between profitable and not. So if I'm running a break even and then I can drop my conversion cost by 20%, then rock on, right? That's enough to be at scale. That's enough to be nice and profitable. All right. Next would be a comment and page management. I like to always use this as an example. People are always like, what do I do with my comments on my ads and stuff like that? What do I do with my page? You guys are all from all over the world in here, but so Best Buy, okay, is a big electronics store, or Walmart. I'm sure you guys have heard of all around the world, right? It's a big store in the United States, right? If you're the manager of the Best Buy or the Walmart, and someone comes in to your store in person, and they say, hey, are you guys a scam? You're going to look at them and say, no, we've been around for years. Here's our managers. Look at these awards that we've won. Here's our return policy. I'm Tim. How can I help you? Help find you what you're looking for. If you have any questions, let me know. You treat people nice, right? You wouldn't just throw them out of your store because they ask if you're a scam, right? And I use that as an example because a lot of people comment scam or something like that on ads, right? And you should be responding to those in a professional way, because guess what? That one person that comments that is not the only one thinking that, okay? A lot of people are thinking that. So if you can respond to that comment in a nice professional way that can kind of change their mind, other people reading that also, you can change their mind, even though they're never commenting, right? You also need to respond to all the comments, even the negative ones, and be professional, all right? Don't swear at people, don't, etc. Just respond to all the comments, be professional, just as if you would if those people were talking to you in person, okay? When there are bad comments, okay, that people are swearing, stuff like that, that's when you're going to throw them out of your store, so to speak, okay? So that's when you hide their comments, all right? Do not delete their comments, all right? When you delete comments, you're literally deleting your engagement, and your engagement rate will go down, okay? Not good. Hide the comments, don't delete them, All right. Now, if you have a lot of negative comments, I don't recommend you do this. All right. This is not recommended. This is like a very temporary Band-Aid. Okay. You should not do this all the time. But what you can do is on the page level, you can put in words that you can block so that they automatically block those comments for you. Facebook does. So what you can do is you can just grab pretty much all the words from the dictionary and just put that in that box. All right. And then it'll pretty much block every single comment. And then you can just go in or have a VA or something go into your ads and just unhide the few positive comments you do have. Again, I don't recommend you really do that. That's just kind of a little thing that, like, if you need to hold yourself over for a few days while or a week or whatever, while you fix something, it's like a good way to do it. So next would be a page management. I myself have been guilty of this, just like a lot of you have. I had this one client that done, they've been to a couple masterminds, done a bunch of consulting for them also. And they're like, hey, Tim, can you have another look at our account? What else can we do to optimize? So I look at their account, they're doing everything pretty good. And then I look at their page and it's nothing but ads, right? And I'm guilty of this a lot myself, but I said, hey, just post 2 or 3 times a week on your page, something engaging, not an ad, something that's going to resonate with your audience, right? And then just boost that to your fan page, boost that to your audience. Don't spend anything crazy. Spend $20, $100, whatever, not a lot, depending what your budget is. And it made a massive difference for them. Okay. It literally, what it does is it raises your quality score and it raises your engagement rate on a page level. Okay. Which helps a lot, helps all of your ads. And it actually decreased their cost per lead by 25 or 30% within 1 week. Very, very quickly.
Tim,
yeah,
time's flying by here, and this is incredible content. Do you think we could possibly wrap things up in the next couple of minutes or so, and then dive into questions after that?
Yeah, give me like 2 more minutes.
Super.
Cool. All right, guys, we're going to go quick now. So now we're on competition. Last couple parts here. Competition, you only have 2 competitors, yourself and everyone else, right? Delivery insights is how you kind of figure out what's going on there. All right. Auction versus audience overlap. Auction overlap is how many of your audiences are actually competing directly in the auction, whereas audience overlap is just the actual audience. Right. Let's see. Competition change. It's not in every ad account yet, but this literally tells you how much your competition on that specific audience is going up or down on a daily basis. And this is what I referenced earlier with the bully method, where you can actually see your competition drop off, which is cool. And as long as your auction overlap, by the way, when you're looking at delivery insights, as long as your auction overlap is below 20%, you're okay. Once you start getting to 25 or 30%, your cost is going to go up. All right. This is a screenshot from Delivery Insights of what the auction competition looks like. You can see day to day it went 13% more competitive, 2% more competitive, 9% more competitive, etc. And then it went 1% less competitive, 14% less competitive, etc. So if you're doing the bully method, you should start seeing go less competitive, and so on. All right. And the last part of the algorithm is budget, of course, right? Obviously, your ad's not going to show if you don't have any budget remaining. The algorithm prioritizes larger budgets, not because they're larger per se. It's not like Facebook is super greedy, although they kind of are. But it's actually just because you're feeding Facebook more data, okay? So larger budgets also allow for a faster optimization and surfing. So if you guys know my surfing strategy, it also makes it a lot easier there. And this is the last slide I got for you guys, time-wise. So I'll just do it all at once. All right. So people always ask, how many ads should I do per ad set? This is how many you should do. If you're getting 10 to 15 conversions daily per ad set, you want to do 8 to 10 total ads, including duplicates. All right. So that could be 4 or 5 unique ads duplicated one time, giving you 8 to 10 total. All right. And then with all of these, you basically just start with that. And then after a few days, you're starting to slowly get rid of your bad ads until you get down to 4 or 5 total ads. And that's the lowest you want to go. All right. Then when those ads start burning out, you have to add a couple more. So same thing when you're if you're getting 16 to 25 conversions daily and you have 10 to 15 total ads, you're going to start with your 10 to 15. And then once you get down to 5 or 7, that's the lowest number of ads you want in your ad set. All right. And then when you scale up, you're going to have to add more ads. That's a lot of problems that people have when they're scaling is they don't have enough ads in their ad set. All right. And if you're doing dynamic creatives, just switch this so you have 8 to 10 total variations. All right. 10 to 15 total variations. So it's the same concept. And I don't think we have time for the rest of this. So should I just skip right to the last slide, or?
Yeah, sure. If we could do that. When I said that we're coming to the end of our time, we got a reaction to say, "Oh no, I could listen to this guy for 2 hours." I could listen to you for multiple hours as well. It's incredible content, but unfortunately, I could also listen to the next couple of speakers, Dennis, you, and
totally.
Kim, for a couple of hours. But I'm sorry. Do you want to finish up with your last slide there?
Yeah, so here's my last slide. If you guys want any more information, just come find me in AdLeaks. That's Tim Burd. Or my website is timburd.com, or Facebook there at Tim Burd Official and at Tim Burd on Instagram. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ping me, and I will be happy to answer you guys.
Absolutely superb.
Well, any questions? Happy to answer. Let's go.
There's two questions that got the most upvotes, so let's go straight to them. We've got Clara Reyes is saying, is there a way to bully method when just starting out with a low budget for startups or solopreneurs?
So you can actually, bully method does work best with big budgets, obviously, because it's going to push more people out. But you still get benefits of bully method even with a low budget. So even if your like ad set budget is only say like $50 a day, you could still bid like $300. You can bid more than the budget. And it'll actually still give you a lot of the benefits of like the higher ad placement in the news feed, higher CTR, and so on.
Great. So, and one other question with massive amounts of upvotes is from Katie Blair saying, how would I use bully methods when I'm competing in a space where competitors have a higher marketing budget than I do?
Okay, guys, that's a great question. So, they're not bidding on just one audience, right? They have a lot of ad sets running. And they're going to do this. It doesn't matter how big their budget is. They're going to pause things that are not profitable if they're running on like a CPA kind of model. Now, if they're running branding and they could care less about their cost per acquisition or cost per video view or whatever, then you're probably going to get bullied out, honestly. You have to have a big budget typically or ideally to be a bully, right? If you can't afford to be a bully, then don't bully. It's a good method if you can afford it, because you are going to lose money for the first 2 or 3 days while people while your competitors are pausing. They typically won't pause for 2 or 3 days, sometimes even a little longer. So, that specific ad set that they're running. So it can take a little while sometimes.
Absolutely superb stuff. Well, Tim, of course, can be reached at timburd.com. Thank you again for joining us, Tim. Superb stuff.
No problem. Thank you for having me, guys.